Hello, I'm Walt Burrows, and my wife, Kaye.
Yeah. And we go to Ridgewood, and that's how come we're doing this on account of Nathan.
Well, we're so glad that you've joined us, Walt and Kay, today. Thank you for doing this. So far we've had a lot of families with kids, and I'm really glad that we have somebody who, number one, does not have kids in their house right now, and number two, Kay, you're retired right now, and you're not
Yeah.
working, but Walt, you're still working. So, for some of the people in our Ridgewood Church family, some of them are retired and they're at home, and some of them are still working. So this is really good to have a good mix of what happens when one person is still working and the other person's not working. And how do you not drive each other crazy? And maybe actually that's the key to success is that one person is
Yeah.
still working. I don't know. But,
It does help.
but seriously, I'm so glad you guys have been willing to join us. So, the first thing that I've been asking all of our people at churches, like, how are you guys keeping occupied? Like, what are you guys doing to keep busy, to not lose your minds?
Well, it's debatable whether we've lost them, but we think we still have them. And I'm involved in a Bible study. That's wonderful. We do the Zoom meetings. That's how come I know how to do Zoom. So we do those once a week, and it's like there's like 15 other ladies besides myself. So it's like a giant Brady Bunch on your screen, and everybody just kind of shares and talks when we go through the study. So that's been really nice. Good connection. And then I read a lot. Right now I'm reading all my Madeline Lingo books again. I love Madeline Lingo. So I'm reading everything she ever wrote, and I make masks, right? Made him a bunch of masks, write cards. I go for long walks.
Yeah.
I try to get him to go with me sometimes. Sometimes I forbid him from coming with me.
Depends on what kind of a day it is.
And I'm trying to make healthy meals. That's hard because you just want to eat all the time, and you want to have healthy eating, and carrots get old, and healthy eating.
And too much healthy eating.
Yeah,
It's unhealthy.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that Rose and I have found ourselves like, we've been like, oh, you know what, let's make some more cookies because like we love baking cookies. And then we're like, the cookies are just sitting there. Normally, we're not home all day, and so we don't eat the cookies. But like now, we're like, oh, we go down to the kitchen to get a drink of water. Oh, let's just grab another cookie. Like another cookie can't hurt. And then all of a sudden, like you realize you made 24 cookies, and in the first 2 days, they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah,
it's mainly
we're gonna have to. We need a walking group, and we need a like an exercise group, especially when this ends.
Oh yeah.
We're all going to need new clothing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah, I don't think they have to worry about retail stores going out of business right after this because everybody's going to need new clothes.
I know. It's crazy. So tell him what you do. He does.
Well, I did take a little over a week off thinking, well, maybe it's time to retire. But after a week of projects, I built a compost, did some yard work.
You did good work.
Did some
Light
electrical switch things. And in the meantime, she learned how, we picked out a couple mask patterns that we thought we kind of liked. And so she started making masks. And after I had a usable mask, I didn't really feel so bad about going back to work.
Yeah. Then you felt safe. You're making the masks. They have vacuum cleaner bags in them. They have like you cut up a vacuum cleaner bag, the HEPA HEPA approved, and viruses can't get through that. And so he wears a part of a vacuum cleaner bag in his mask.
That's actually, Rose and I made masks. I don't know if you guys have seen it's Just One More Ministry in Milwaukee. Chris shared it with us actually. We made the masks with that, and it was like a similar material. Like it was like a really thick material, but was breathable. But it like stops it from coming through or stops it from going out. I think it's more of the going out. But yeah. Lots of different ways to make it.
Yeah, like a million. So and we found ourselves going back to crossword puzzles. We do a lot of crossword puzzles. You know, he's really getting good. He's really bad at them, but he's really good at them now. He's really.
And sometimes when somebody gets too frustrated, the puzzle gets thrown away.
I only threw one away, just one. I'm like, that's it. This is not even normal. So I threw it away.
You know, that's probably what would happen in our house if we did that, because I just get frustrated and go, you know what, we can do it another time.
Yeah. This is like made for people who are like double, triple English majors or something, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's good to find stuff like that to do. What has, I mean, and Walt, I guess this is mainly for you, but what has I don't know what your hours have been like at work now that all this has happened. Have you been working more hours? Have you been working less hours? The same? What has it been like so far?
Well, basically, I'm considered an essential employee because we subcontract with the mail, postal service, and nobody's been laid off. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And you know, occasionally there'll be an overtime day, or sometimes I'll stay over after my shift for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Till I've had enough of the place. And
yeah, he'll work in the warehouse and he'll like help there after he does his routes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's been kind of nice driving around town with hardly zero traffic.
Yeah. For you, this is like, I mean, as bad as this is in terms of like getting your work done, this couldn't be better. I mean, there's no traffic that you have to worry about. I remember, what was it, like a month ago or so? I remember you telling me you got caught downtown when President Trump was in town, and you were stuck down there for like hours because you couldn't. You couldn't leave.
Game at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty cool. I think the thing that I've talked to a lot of our people with so far has been, you know, I think it's different for you, Walt, because, you know, you're closer to somebody who like has maybe like a manufacturing job. Like, I was talking to Joe Shills. He goes to work every day, normal hours, and he comes home at night and his work stops. But for like some of our teachers and for like me or for Kent or any people that work from home, it's hard because like, where do you find the balance of saying, all right, I'm going to be done for the day? And you just don't. I mean, Rosie's working on stuff for school right now, and it's Saturday at 4:20 p.m. You know, it's like it's just it's hard to find that balance.
I can't imagine that. I cannot imagine that. You know, I mean, I work all the time anywhere I used to, but it's like you know, I can't imagine being in this situation where you have to work from home all the time. That would drive me nuts. You know, I don't think I could do it.
It's definitely different. Kate, how has it been? I mean, obviously, what has changed the most for you in terms of you're retired, so you've been at home anyway, but what's been the biggest change for you in terms of what you did, your daily schedule, your routines, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think it's a lot the same actually, but you know, like obviously you have to wear a mask now, you know, when you go out and about. But I think as far as like the biggest change in routines and stuff is I find myself trying to do things around the briefings that the president's been doing, because I've been wanting to listen to those, but I can't listen to the whole thing usually because I get really upset with the reporters and all this nonsense going on. So I do house cleaning during that time. You know, I get on my treadmill, which is in the middle of my living room now, and I get on my treadmill and I will do that and just like try to walk off my upsetness, you know, but I do want to hear the briefing, but I don't want to hear all the stuff around it, all the, you know, arguing and stuff. Like, stop it, just tell me what's going on. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So I set my day around that, you know, but really lots of other, I mean, most things haven't changed that much. I don't go anywhere anyway. You know, I do yard work and I, you know, take walks and but my walks, that's different because there's people everywhere outside walking. Whole families out walking. And it's so funny because like when it first started, there'd be these little kids and they'd go, you know how little kids just say anything. Yeah. And so we're out walking and we'd be waving, I'd be smiling, they'll go, the big sister goes, no, she's old. Don't touch her. You can't get close to her because she's a grandma. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to touch you. And she said, no, we can't touch you. And I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to touch me. They're like, 8 feet away from me. And
yeah, right. They're like
the
other
mom
side of the
like
street.
turning all red. Yes, and she's like, oh my God, don't call her old. I'm like, but it's true. I am like a grandma. But now people are a little calmer.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
I have to put 2 cents in.
Yeah.
She does get a little upset when people walk on the wrong side of the street.
I know. Do you know people will walk? You're supposed to walk against the traffic, right? I mean, that's what I was taught. So you can see the car coming at you.
You can see the cars that are coming at you. Right. Exactly.
Right. So then lots of people don't. They're on my side of the road. And I'm like, hey, you have to get over there because you're on the wrong side of the road. You have to be 6 feet away from me. Go over there. Well, it's like, she's like militant. I learned to be a little politer about it. I figured maybe these people were never taught. Now it's like, excuse me, but you need to be over there.
You could just like put a little sign on like a necklace or something that says like you're walking on the, if you can read this, you're walking on the wrong side of the road.
I love it.
You're in my space.
It's really funny. But I'm trying to be nice about this. I really am. But it's like, come on, people, let's get on the right side of the road.
No, I think
so walks are different. That's what's changed.
Yeah, I think at first people were like, I mean, even I found myself at the very beginning, like we would be out for walks because we normally go out at lunchtime, and I usually do that anyway because I come home to take out the dogs during the regular work week because they need to go outside and get lunch. And Rosalie's teaching, so she can't do it. And so I come home, and usually there's nobody outside. Maybe 1 or 2 people I see walking in the park, but there's nobody. The first couple weeks, I was like, I didn't even know these people lived here. Like, I've never seen.
I know all my neighbors now.
Right? Yeah, like we all seen all of our neighbors in varying states of masks, gloves, whatever, And so it's yeah, but like at first everybody was like so scared, like didn't even want to like talk to each other, like look at each other. And now people have kind of like realized that this is going to go on for a long time, so we might as well say hello to each other.
Right. And at first it was only the dogs that were greeting people. Like if people were walking your dogs, the dogs would just like run up to you and jump all over you, and the people are like, oh my gosh, and you're like, it's okay, dogs can't catch it, it's all right.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know. Rose and I felt bad. Like our dogs would like go and like try and run up to people, and we're like trying to pull them back, be like, that's anything, like not look at the person, like look away.
But I love it. I've met all my neighbors and all their dogs now, and that's been nice. I've enjoyed that.
There is a fellow that lives somewhere in our neighborhood. We've seen him once or twice. That's wheelchair bound, and he had a dog
pulling him.
He's just around for the ride.
Hey, that is a good way for him to get out and his dog to get exercise.
They were having a ball. It was really cute.
I'm sure. That's hilarious. I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. What has been maybe the most encouraging thing or the most, I don't know, uplifting thing that you've seen or that you've heard about, or maybe even something that you've done that you've been like, I wish more people did this? Because I've found when I've talked with people from church, sometimes they've been like, hey, we did this. I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. I wish I could have thought of that, because like that would be a great thing to do. So what's something you've seen or that you've done uplifting, encouraging, just made your spirits lifted up, whatever it is?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, we have 2 sets of friends that needed cancer treatment, and it was being denied
or delayed.
Weeks,
everything was held up.
And in the last week, they both got set up to start.
Yeah, they're both getting the treatment that they need. That's been really encouraging.
Oh, that's great.
Because one of them in particular is in the Detroit area, and they couldn't. They've been so hard hit.
Yeah.
And so, but we just found out that, prayers are getting answered. So that's really encouraging.
Yeah.
To see that amidst all this tragedy and some of the stuff going on, God still is moving, in all the people. And that's been uplifting to me. And I think whenever, because I watch those dumb briefings, right? But whenever our vice president is talking, he just unapologetically and unashamedly, he will talk about the power of prayer, and he will talk about how we can heal our land. And I'm just glad. I'm glad he can do that, and nobody throws things at him. So that's good, but he'll say, thank the American people for praying. It's your prayers. It's your, and I'm like, yeah. So that encourages me to be able to hear that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the prayer, I think it's so true that we're in such a dark time as a nation, as humanity, whatever it is, and it's so encouraging to see prayer being answered, because it's kind of like one of those things where we always hope that God will answer prayers, and it's always great when he does, but especially when it's in just times like this, it's just even more powerful for people to see prayer being answered, because there's just no hope outside of God and outside of prayer, and it really is encouraging. So that's so encouraging to hear that treatment's getting provided, and that God is still working. He is indeed still working.
Good stuff still happens.
Yes.
So,
yes, absolutely. What's one thing that you have learned about God, or even not learned about, or maybe just relearned about God through all of this, maybe through experiences, through something you've read, just through scripture that's come to mind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, because I've been doing this real intense Bible study in Genesis with this group of women, it's been really wonderful. And, realizing again the sovereignty of God, and how, God is a personal God, but yet he is also sovereign in the affairs of men. And that, just seeing his hand of providence in all of this, it's like you see him in the details, even when things that are tragic, or these things are going on, this crisis is going on, but God is still sovereign, and he's drawing people closer. That I really have seen in friends and family members, even in myself. And the other day, just reading in my Bible by myself, I finished Genesis, and we're finishing up for the year that Bible study. And I started thinking and just reading on into Exodus a bit. And then it was like, you know what? The sweetest and most wonderful feeling came over me of just being in his presence, being quiet and being in the presence of God. That doesn't typically happen, even to a retired person, because we're busy. We're busy being busy. And that really was kind of amazing to me to have that experience, to say, wow, this is cool, because you can feel him moving. You can feel God moving, even in the midst of all this. So I think just realizing that, and realizing there was this proverb that I was going to tell you about. That it was Proverb 21:1, but it's where it talks about how the heart of the king is like a stream of water in the hand of God, and he can turn that heart where he will. And I'm thinking, God is. We've all seen him doing that. It's like, wow, it's got to be God, because it's amazing. Yeah, so that's been cool. So, and how about you? Did you want to add, or? Yeah.
Well, while I had my time off, I was toying in my mind, or having a battle. Do I go back to work, or do I stay home? Blah blah blah. And
because our daughter was really adamant about you staying home.
Is this fear versus foolishness?
Yeah.
And foolishness or fear do not come from God.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I figure it came to me after some of that went away once we had, I guess called PPEs, gloves and masks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because my daily routine, I go to work, come home, throw all the clothes in the laundry, and I take a shower before I do anything else.
Yeah, right.
And I'm washing masks and gloves and coats and clothes.
And praying that
right.
I don't bring anything in.
Right.
And,
it's been good. Good. So, knowing that God's got his back.
Yeah, Kay, I think every single person I've talked to so far has commented a similar fact of even though I have time usually, or even though I set aside time usually, or even at the very beginning of this, we were talking about Easter and how we always say we're going to get back to the real meaning of this, or whatever it is. This is the first time, I think, really ever for most people where life truly has stopped. And there actually is time to do things. Not just I've set aside time, but it could be filled with other things. There's nothing else to fill that time. And so I think you, along with everybody else I've talked to, has said, I'm so thankful that I have this time because it's really helping me get back to what I was learning about God, what I was thinking about God, and it's just really helping me recenter and understand what God wants me to learn in this time. Because there's so many, Kaye, like you said, sometimes you watch the news and it's just all doom and gloom, and you're like, man, this stinks. It's so easy to become discouraged and become concerned and become overwhelmed with that. But it's like, if we take our time, we say, I'm going to use this time to dive into God's word. I'm going to use this time to pray for people I know. I mean, that is, it is time that God has given us. And so we should use that time just like you're saying.
Yeah. That's been the most amazing thing to me. Yeah.
It's a weird time. I think I talked to I don't remember, I think it might have been Joel Flunker, it might have been somebody else, but I was trying to say I don't really know what word to describe the time, because at some points it's difficult, at some points it's weird, at some points it's frustrating, sad. And he was like, you know what, I just say it's a different time. And I was like, that is a good word to use, because it is just different and it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
I sensed it, and I think I'd read this too, that but the time that I was home for 10 days straight, I had read something that it's time to take a separate space to do something by yourself for an hour, and just not be in each other's face all the time and nerves.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. That's good.
It's good advice from Walt. Good advice from a loving husband.
Yes. Definitely.
Well, Kaye and Walt, it's been so good to hear from you, and it's so good to hear that God is still using work and using retirement and just teaching you guys stuff. So I'm so glad I could interview you guys, and I really think this is going to be a helpful interview for some of our families, and some of our couples, whoever's out there, just because you're coming from two very different things, retired and still working. I mean, it's definitely two different walks of life. So thank you again for joining us, and so glad that we could get this, and hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy your campfire.